Bottom line is that this is a winning issue, and so we hope that the pro-life members in Congress see that and really seize the opportunity to protect life.
The tug of war continues as pro-life and pro-abortion lawmakers on both the federal and state levels jockey for votes to pass abortion laws that reflect their views. Welcome to EWTN News In Depth. Late this week, an important development at the state level. Oklahoma lawmakers passed a bill on Thursday prohibiting nearly all abortions starting at fertilization, making it the strictest pro-life law in the country. Modeled after a Texas law, it relies on private citizens to enforce it. Oklahoma is just one of many states writing laws to severely restrict or ban abortion in anticipation of a ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court likely to overturn Roe v. Wade. And the legislative battle is still waging at the federal level, as reporter Mark Irons explains.
Supporters of abortion protest around the country, rallying in places like New York and Texas. And back in Washington,
hands off women's reproductive health care.
Democrats critical of the Supreme Court after a leaked document showed conservative justices could soon overturn Roe v. Wade. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi says her party will continue fighting for abortion in the halls of Congress.
As Republicans seek to control and criminalize women's reproductive health freedoms, Democrats are fighting to enshrine Roe v. Wade into law.
But the attempts to pass a pro-abortion bill have come up short. Last week, the Women's Health Protection Act of 2022 failed in the Senate without any support from Republicans. Pro-life groups say the title, focused on women's health, is misleading and describe it another way.
The Abortion on Demand Until Birth Act, because that's really the essence of the bill.
Connor Simmelsberger with the Family Research Council tracks federal legislation impacting unborn children. He calls the Supreme Court decision in Roe v. Wade extreme, but says the Women's Health Protection Act goes much further.
What this bill is designed to do is not just say we want to make abortion legal, but make it that human right, that constitutional right that they claim it is. And if abortion is a right, there can be no conscientious objectors to it.
In contrast to the Women's Health Protection Act, moderate Republican Senators Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski are taking a slightly different approach. They've reintroduced their own abortion bill, the Reproductive Choice Act. They say it simply upholds Roe v. Wade and Planned Parenthood v. Casey. Senator Collins writes, unlike some far-left activists, Senator Murkowski and I want the law today to be the law tomorrow. That's why we introduced legislation in February that would enshrine the important Roe and Casey protections into law. The Reproductive Choice Act would ensure religious freedom protections for healthcare providers who object to performing abortion. But overall, Simmelsberger says the Collins-Murkowski bill still favors abortion and would be destructive to pro-life measures passed at the state level.
They're still saying yes to allowing abortion through all 9 months of pregnancy.
With the abortion debate heating up in the U.S., a look around the world shows most countries have limitations. According to the Family Research Council, the U.S. is one of only 6 countries that allows late-term abortion. It joins Canada, Vietnam, South Korea, North Korea, and China. Bills to secure access to abortion are proposed right here in the U.S. Capitol, but when it comes to talk of restricting abortion at some point in a pregnancy, Democrats don't have much to say.
In general, most Americans don't like abortion.
Dr. Michael New, a professor at the Catholic University of America and associate scholar with the pro-life Charlotte Lozier Institute, has been studying abortion data for years. Though he says polls may show public support for the Supreme Court's 1973 Roe v. Wade decision, evidence suggests people may be uninformed about what the decision actually did.
Roe v. Wade, for all intents and purposes, legalized abortion on demand in all 50 states for all 9 months of pregnancy. That is a policy position that only a small percentage of Americans share.
New says polls prove it when you look at the percentage of public support for late-term abortion.
After the second trimester, it's less than 40%. And if you really want to get down to after the third trimester, it's less than 20%.
And with the Supreme Court poised to potentially overturn Roe and the 2022 midterm elections drawing near, Americans will consider abortion laws when they go to vote. Last week in a statement, President Joe Biden wrote, "Voters need to elect more pro-choice senators this November and return a pro-choice majority to the House."
People support reasonable regulation.
But Kristen Day, executive director of Democrats for Life, says the increasingly extreme abortion views from Democrats in Congress could alienate voters like her, who consider themselves part of the Democratic Party but also favor protections for the unborn.
I would say to Democrats, if you support, reasonable regulation and limitation, please join us, Democrats for Life, in fighting back against this direction that our party has gone.
Day encourages those running for office at all levels to fight for life. She believes it could pay off at the polls.
It could be such a winning issue.
Mark Irons, EWTN News In Depth.